Good morning, good afternoon or good evening depending wherever you are watching in the world, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're going to be looking at how Manchester United did against Brighton away from home in the Premier League. And unfortunately we did end up losing 2-1. Brighton played very well and we didn't play very well whatsoever. So there are lots and lots of things to go through in this video. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. I don't want to have a 40-minute video, which I could very easily do, but I want to keep it nice and short for you all. In terms of possession, we had 51% with 11 shots, 4 on target, and an XG of 1.43. They had 49% with 14 shots, 5 shots on target, and an XG of 2.09. So in terms of stats, they did have more shots, more on target, and more XG. So maybe they are deserving of the win. I think both goals that we did concede are very, very avoidable for us. It comes down to individual mistakes. And I think for the first goal, there's maybe like 4 or 5 errors by different people that kind of accumulate and leads to them scoring. We also had 2 goals that were ruled offside. One was very, very, very close to being onside, and the other one is just super unlucky. But we're going to go through all of that in today's video. So the first picture we're going to be looking at is the first chance that we actually created. You can kind of see on screen we are building up still in this 3-1-6 system. It's something that Ten Hag has stuck with, and he wants to continue in this way. I think against teams that sit back a little bit deeper than Brighton, you can kind of see they're on the halfway line pretty much. They have 2 people in their own half, one on the halfway line, and then one a couple of yards into our half. But with this system, we had Harry Maguire splitting right, we had Lisandro Martinez splitting left, and then Casemiro dropping into the middle, with Kobbie Mainoo being the pivot. I think Kobbie Mainoo actually did this role quite well. He's able to use his technical ability to play out of really tight spaces. He's almost press proven, to be honest. It's super hard to press Kobbie Mainoo just because of how good he is. Technically being able to dribble past people, hold people off with his strength, which is one of his strongest strengths. And being able to kind of play out that way. He's able to play with people on his back, able to play the right passes and progress the play and beat the press. But in this one, we are going to be going long, with Andre Onana having a decent distribution all the way out to Diogo Dalot. You can kind of see the closest man to him is the one next to Marcus Rashford. With Rashford pushed inside, it almost forces the Brighton fullback to hedge his bets and stay as close to Rashford as possible, knowing that if a ball goes out to Dalot, he has to get out there. It gives Dalot that little bit of time, and with that, Dalot actually ends up winning his own header and flick on and is able to get on the end of it. You can kind of see in this now, he's just burst down this left-hand side. He's picked up on the ball, and with Amad Diallo sprinting down the right-hand side, Dalot, all he has to do is find a really good cross, an inch-perfect one, which he does. The only thing wrong with it is just it's a really awkward height. And if you've ever played football and had one of these chances, you know it's terrible. It's not high enough to head, but it's not low enough to volley. It's almost like waist high. It's one of those situations where unless you're a specialist like a Robin van Persie, who kind of thrived on chances like this where he would utilise diving headers, his volley technique was incredible on both feet. These chances are really difficult to kind of take, and he's not going to have enough time to take it down and then shoot, because Jason Steele's going to be pressing him. He's going to be coming out to him, and then also the defender's kind of running back. So it's going to be super difficult. He has to take it first time, and unfortunately he decides to take it on the volley with his left foot as well, and just put it wide of the post. So it's a really, really good chance from us. Again, a chance coming from this 3-1-6, and I don't think we're going to see that kind of disappear anytime soon. Moving on from something positive to something negative, unfortunately, it is the first goal that we concede, and this is where we're going to be seeing 4 or 5 mistakes from different individuals, which we're going to be going through. We're defending in a narrow 4-4-2. Again, this is something that we've done relatively well, being in this low to mid block, depending wherever we are, with Mazraoui as the right back, who's in good position, Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez and Dalot as the back 4. Then we have Rashford, Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro and Diallo out on the right, who is the furthest one away. But we have Marcus Rashford marking Minter. We have Kobbie Mainoo marking I think that is James Milner, and then the arrow from Dalot to Joao Pedro. Everybody in this position is marked. There aren't easy options for Brighton to take, but unfortunately it does find its way out to Joao Pedro. Now in this situation, it's something that is really easily avoidable. Somebody has to press the ball, whether it be Dalot, whether it be Marcus Rashford. Somebody has to do it, because in the Premier League you cannot allow anybody, especially of the quality of Joao Pedro, to get their head up, pick a spot and have a cross that is unpressured from anyone, which unfortunately is exactly what happens. With Marcus Rashford marking Minter, Lisandro Martinez marking James Milner, and then Dalot kind of unsure. I think in this situation he's either expecting Marcus Rashford to go out as per instructions from Ten Hag perhaps, or he's waiting, in my opinion this is the most likely one, or he's waiting for Lisandro Martinez to tell him go and press. Because as soon as Martinez would say go and press, he knows that there's no one kind of making runs in behind him. He is aware that nobody is there, and he can just go and press the ball and stop the cross at source. But unfortunately that doesn't actually happen, and Joao Pedro is able to put the ball exactly where he wants. And this is exactly where he puts it. It's in such a dangerous position for us, and this is where the second error comes from. Harry Maguire letting it bounce is one of the worst decisions he could have made. Now he had loads of different kind of things to do. The one, he could have put it in row Z, he could have put it out for a corner, he could have put it out for a throw-in, out of the stadium, it doesn't matter. And in this position, I have actually played centre-back. You cannot allow the ball to bounce, and if you allow the ball to bounce, you need to get rid of it. You cannot allow it just to run across your body and hope that nobody is there for a tap-in. I don't actually believe Harry Maguire knows Mazraoui is there, because the person who is charging in front of Mazraoui is actually goal side of him and will get to the ball quicker than Mazraoui is. So that is something that you cannot allow to happen. But regardless of that, we're in a good position. We have a 2v2 that are both marked. Martinez is coming back into the box. Casemiro is actually in a really good position to pick up anybody that is making a late run. He's also holding a really good and decent area. If the ball is to drop, he's able to kind of sweep up seconds. But unfortunately, what happens next is the ball bounced all the way out, and it finds Matoma in a really good position. Now Mazraoui has to, of course, go out and try and stop the cross at source, so he presses out. Harry Maguire then also has to step across to Mazraoui's man, which leaves Danny Welbeck. Now in this situation, this is where the third mistake comes in, and that is Lisandro Martinez, again playing centre-back. The one thing you have to identify, who is the most dangerous threat, and in this situation it is Danny Welbeck. You cannot allow a striker on the 6-yard box who is completely unmarked and not go and mark him. All you have to do is go and step across and be in front of Danny Welbeck. If the ball then beats you, Harry Maguire and Mazraoui, as well as get past Onana, yes, there's going to be a tap-in at the back post, but then you can look to somebody else. Why haven't you come back in? Why haven't you marked your man? That's a discussion you can have later, but you can't allow anybody to have just that much space. And the other mistake is Casemiro not even aware that Danny Welbeck is there. You can kind of see he's ball watching again. This is something that I'll pick up on later in the second goal, but he's just looking at the ball. He isn't even aware of Danny Welbeck, and that's something you're going to see in the next screenshot. Casemiro is actually closer to Harry Maguire than he is to Danny Welbeck, who has a free tap in from 4 yards out. It's something that is really frustrating to watch, and it happened a lot last season. I think that's one of the biggest frustration from fans and people watching. This kind of stuff happened all the time last season, and it's really frustrating to see that it's now happening this season with people not following runners. Casemiro especially, being as good as he is defensively, or as he has been his entire career defensively, having him not even identify that Danny Welbeck is a threat is kind of criminal to be in that position. But nonetheless, Danny Welbeck makes the most of Manchester United's errors. He's able to stab it goalwards and puts it in the back of the net for a 1-0 lead. Now, with that, yes, we're 1-0 down, but we still need to go and create chances, and create chances we do. You can kind of see now on screen with Amad Diallo, who is on the right-hand side of the penalty box, on the 18-yard box. And last season, we would have had Anthony in this position, for example, and you know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to put it onto his left foot, and he's going to try and bend it into the top corner. The difference with Amad Diallo is he is a creative winger. He looks for people to play passes to. We saw in pre-season, we even saw it against Manchester City, the give and go types of passes. He would have given it to Bruno, and then Bruno would have tried slipping it in. There are lots and lots of chances and opportunities for Amad to take, but the one thing he does is identify Marcus Rashford's opposite movement. You can kind of see the person that Marcus Rashford is being marked by, which I think is Veltman, has checked to his right hand side to see where Rashford is, and as soon as that happens, Rashford has gone the other way. It's really, really clever movement by Rashford. It's something that top number 9s do all the time, to get yourself that extra couple of yards where Veltman has just quickly checked you're already gone, and you're now going to see just how much space he has, and Diallo puts it on a sixpence for Rashford, and it's a really, really good choice of finish as well, where he gets down low, it's a diving header, he puts it back across goal, and it's a really, really top save by Jason Steele. He makes himself so big, gets a big left hand to it as well, and unfortunately stops Marcus Rashford, but somehow it bounces off Rashford's heel, goes over Steele and into the back of the net, and then the linesman raises his flag and it is ruled out for being offside. I think one of the frustrating things for all Manchester United fans, whether it be in the stadium or watching at home, there was no kind of clarification as to visual representation as to yes, it's offside. There was no kind of VAR lines, there was no nothing. It was just, yeah, it's offside. And it is incredibly close, and depending on what angle you look at, he's onside, but it's one of those where he's very, very, very close. He's offside, it's offside. It doesn't really matter. The goal's ruled out. We move on. But yeah, it was just kind of really frustrating at the time. There was no kind of clarification, which is why I think a lot of people were annoyed about this being offside. But it was offside, and unfortunately it was ruled out. Moving on to the next one then, it is something that Brighton had a really good chance with, and it came from actually us defending relatively well. You can kind of see Joshua Zirkzee is marking, I think, Lewis Dunk. Amad is marking his man. Even Casemiro is pressed up and marking the one in midfield, with Bruno putting pressure on Jason Steele. The really good thing is we put him on his weaker left foot and we forced him to go long. This is exactly, if you would have given Ten Hag this kind of screenshot and said, this is how we're going to press them, we're going to force them to go long on his weaker foot, he would have been really happy. But unfortunately what happens is again more errors. So it's played over, I think, to Danny Welbeck, who then lays it back to João Pedro, and Lisandro Martinez comes out, misses the ball entirely, and João Pedro turns him. Martinez gets an arm in the face, and then they're away. You can see on screen now it is a 4 versus 5 with Casemiro nowhere near to being back. Again, this is something that we struggle with the lack of dynamism and athleticism in the midfield, especially with Casemiro. We're not able to get back in time, and especially if Martinez is all the way down lying on the halfway line, it is not a good look for us. But the players that are making the runs is James Milner. He's going to make that run to the near post, leaving an open man in the middle. And then I think Dalot is going to have to come across, leaving Danny Welbeck at the back post all alone. And the one thing in this situation is James Milner versus Harry Maguire. And I have no idea how this is a thing, but James Milner outpaces Harry Maguire. Maguire looks like he's stuck in mud, and he toe pokes it past Onana, who's done relatively well. He's come out, he's made the angle a lot smaller. His near post is a little bit open, but nonetheless, he's come out, he's done his job, he stayed big, he stayed on his feet. Milner puts in a really good kind of toe poke finish, pushes it round Onana, and if it wasn't for Diogo Dalot coming back and clearing it off the line, we would have been 2 goals down already, and it would have been really difficult to come by. But we did actually end up coming back from that attack and scoring. You can see on screen right now, Harry Maguire has the ball with Casemiro out on this right hand side. Lisandro Martinez is currently off screen, but you can see at the top of your screen, Marcus Rashford has already made that run and he's pushed back some of the defensive line. The one thing that Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie Mainoo are doing is telling Harry Maguire to slow down, let's build this play properly, let's get our foot on the ball and maybe create a really good chance. And that is exactly what we do. Harry Maguire plays it into Kobbie Mainoo, who flicks it around the corner to Mazraoui, and as soon as that happens, this is again something that Mazraoui is very good at. Something that Dalot was good at also last season is finding these little pockets of space, and then Amad Diallo is off to the races. He knows exactly what's coming. Mazraoui plays a really good pass straight through the fullback. I think that's actually Matoma in that position, and the left back plays it straight through them, and then is able to find Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo then cuts in on his left-hand side, and of course, as soon as you give somebody of Amad's quality that kind of opportunity where he's back on his favoured left foot, has all of the goal to aim at, he's going to hit the target, things are going to go wrong for the defensive team, and Amad actually puts a really good shot in. It's low, it's hard, it's driven, it's going towards the far post, but with Lewis Dunk, and I think that's Van Heck maybe, coming back, they both slide to try and block the shot, and it deflects off one of them and into the back of the net, giving us a 1-1 scoreline. Now, in this game, Diallo had lots of opportunities to create. I think one of the biggest ones, he comes in off the right hand side, is a really good counter-attack by us, and all he has to do is play a through pass into Bruno Fernandes, who will then be one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It was a really clear kind of pass to make, and then he plays a pass 10 yards behind Marcus Rashford and kills it all. So I don't think Amad had the best of games, but with him not having the kind of best of games, he's still able to score goals, and that's something that is really important for us. If people are playing really poorly, I think that's why Bruno Fernandes stays on for so long, all the time, especially last season. You know he can create something, he can get a goal out of nothing, and with Amad Diallo being able to do the same, it's a really good sign for us. With the scoreline then being at 1-1, we do end up actually defending relatively well, and then Casemiro gets on the fortunate side of a 50-50, and we're able to break on the counter-attack, with Casemiro passing it to Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes then playing a really good pass into Amad Diallo, and you can see now we have Alejandro Garnacho out on the left-hand side, Joshua Zirkzee streaming through the middle, and then Bruno Fernandes who is going to make a really intelligent run on the outside of Amad Diallo, allowing him to have even more space, or if the defender doesn't actually go with Bruno Fernandes and follows Amad, Amad has a really easy pass, which he does find. You can see in this position, all Bruno has to do is find a good pass, and it is a very clear goal scoring opportunity. I was actually surprised he was going to pass this in the game instead of just having a shot, but he does find a really good pass. He finds it to the back post where Alejandro Garnacho has an open goal. Joshua Zirkzee missed obviously the attempted pass by Bruno, sliding in, and then Garnacho finding himself at the back post with an open goal, who fires it across goal. And unfortunately, this is where the really unfortunate bad luck happens for us. It is offside. It is a goal that needs to be ruled out. It was really harsh and brutal, but it's the laws. I mean, he's offside. He touches it before the ball crosses the line, and it does need to be ruled out. I actually saw some fans saying that there needs to be common sense. He tried getting out the way. He's not interfering with play, and I mean, I'm all for supporting and wanting goals, but when it's offside and as kind of easy to see as that, then I don't really understand why people are complaining. It's just really unfortunate. He tries getting out of the way. He's not trying to score the goal and take it away from Garnacho. You can kind of see his hand lifted up to say, oh no, please don't hit me. But unfortunately it does, and it's ruled out for offside rightly. But if that goal goes in and it doesn't hit Zirkzee, or Zirkzee isn't there, we go 2-1 up, and then we defend for the last however many minutes were left. But unfortunately, they go down the other end, and this is where the calamity of errors continues. You can see it is a corner that is played out. It's flicked all the way out to the edge of the box, and I think this is a dinger. I'm not too sure on that, but Antony is closing him down. All that happens, you can kind of see just how packed the middle of the box is, and Antony, all he has to do is come out a 50-50, which he almost pulls out of. It's not a 50-50 that is convinced that he is, yes, I'm going to win the ball back. It just is a 50-50 that, I don't know, he doesn't put everything behind and it just ricochets off him, and then somehow makes his way out to the left hand side. But you can kind of see with Casemiro being as far as back, I want you to keep an eye on him and Scott McTominay, just the positions that they're in currently. And now we're going to move across to the second screenshot. This is a few seconds after. This isn't even a lot of seconds after, where it falls back out to a dinger on this left hand side. Casemiro is now outside the box. Antony is nowhere near anything. Joao Pedro is at the back post with Scott McTominay marking dunk. You can see every single one of Manchester United's players are looking directly at the ball and no one is checking the back post. Casemiro is now 10 yards away from the man that he was actually marking, and Scott McTominay hasn't even got a clue that he's behind him. De Ligt has come out but is trying to get back into the defensive position where he should be, and there are still 3 men around the ball, which Adingra has. And now the next slide that we're going to be looking at is again another, it's just one of those things that is hard to believe just based on how we were set up maybe even 5 seconds before this actually happened. There are still 3 men around the ball. Antony is nowhere to be seen. Casemiro is now on the edge of the box, and still everyone is looking at the ball. Nobody is even aware that there are 3 men at the back post completely free. Joao Pedro is a few yards away from the 6-yard box, and all he's going to have is a free header. Scott McTominay is marking Lewis Dunk. De Ligt is marking the space. And I mean, people saying that Scott McTominay should be marking Joao Pedro and then De Ligt should be marking Dunk. Yes, that is an option, but also Casemiro was marking that back space. That was his area. When Scott McTominay saw the ball go from that kind of front post all the way to the back where Antony is, Casemiro was there. That was his position to hold, and Casemiro was the one bombing forward for no reason before the ball was even done. I think it was more of a let's try and grab the winner rather than let's secure not losing, and it just ended up in a really, really bad and poor decision by everybody, and it falls to Joao Pedro at the back post, completely free, nobody near him. Casemiro, the man who should be marking him, is still 10 yards away, and there are actually 2 men, so it would have been a free goal regardless unless Casemiro was in the right place at the first time. But that is how avoidable these goals were. It was just individual mistakes from everybody, just even during the game, which was actually really frustrating to see. It could have been a very different result. If we would have come away with 1 point, we would have felt okay. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. We didn't play our best, but we come away with a point. But coming away with nothing in the last, I think they scored in like the 93rd, 94th minute. It was just a real sucker punch for us, especially when we could have and really should have been defending that a lot better. But yeah. But all of these things need to improve because we are playing Liverpool at home on the 3rd game week of the Premier League. They have lots and lots of players that can hurt us. They look good already in the first 2 games. I think they played Brentford, and I'm not entirely sure on the first one, but 2-0 against Brentford nonetheless. They perform really well with Salah, Jota, Luis Diaz. Gravenberch is playing really well. They have Trent Alexander-Arnold, and defensively they look really good as well. So we need to be on our A game, and hopefully we can get this starting 11 sorted. Maybe De Ligt comes in, maybe Xerxes comes in as the starting number 9 as well, give us a focal point. But we do need to be better. And of course that is on the 1st of September, but I am travelling to Germany on the 1st, so I won't actually be able to watch it, but I will try my best to get a good video out shortly after that, because then I travel on holiday for 2 weeks, but I'm going to try and previously upload some videos just so you can have some content whilst I'm away. But then as soon as I get back, the videos will carry on and continue. But it's going to be the end of the video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like on the video and leave everything down in the comments below where you want to see the improvements for the Liverpool game at home, and also the starting 11. If you could put the starting 11 down in the comments, that would be awesome. I want to see everyone's opinions on that. That would be great to see. Also subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you are notified when I do upload those videos. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye.